Well, hello, everyone. It is so good to see you this Monday morning. Happy Monday. I hope this Monday finds you warm, dry. Excuse me. We are here today for the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers was reported missing February 25th, 2024, almost 2 years. His father was on his channel yesterday live and shared information, shared where he wants us to go from here, Sebastian's Army, and the things we can do. One of the very alarming things, and I will be live tonight also at 7 p.m. Eastern to discuss a lot of it. Right now, I want to focus on Detective Carter. Lots going on there, but my jaw hit the floor. But I'm going to wait for some of you to come in. Jaw dropping that there's a detective who didn't want a child who is missing from his town showcased and highlighted. He said it was ridiculous. He was mad. Why are you mad? Or is that mad really fear? Fear of a investigation that was shoddy. Fear of other things when they came to town, talking to locals maybe. Lack of public safety feeling from the locals. Hearing there was no crime scene tape up. Hearing a lot of things, that trucks were moving. Well, they were searching for a child through a construction site with dogs and kept the trucks moving. There's so many reasons he wouldn't want them there, in my opinion. And we're going to dig into it today. But Seth Rogers was on his channel. He was live yesterday. He is on a mission to start a movement to change corruption and misconduct and to elevate the missing children, keep them important and bring them home. And indeed, that is what should be happening. And sadly, very sad that this movement even has to be considered, because you know what? You put a badge on, you take a paycheck, you sit in the sheriff's office, you better be out looking for the missing kid. There's a lot going on in Sumner County, and they don't want anyone to know it, in my opinion. And guess what? We're going to keep going until they are exposed to everyone, in my opinion. This is the lead detective on the case. He has, according to Seth Rogers, has been very dishonest with Seth and the information he gives Seth, lying to him, as Seth Rogers put it, over and over and over again. Now, law enforcement doesn't have to tell you everything they're doing. But what is going on with the hiding, the silence, the no press conferences? Seth Rogers goes to the corner with a microphone to raise awareness, and they leave the office. Who are they hiding from? Oh, I'll tell you who. They don't want the marshals in, and now they're upset about the FBI. They don't even want the FBI flyer being the one that is used. Interesting, right? Very interesting. Well, we're going to get into a little bit because, it really upset me. We are going to be live tonight, 7 p.m. I know some of you have some questions about some of the things that were said last night. I really need to rewatch it. And then, because I don't want to just jump out and say stuff. I want to rewatch it, process it, and then I can get back. We'll be here 7 p.m. Eastern tonight also to discuss this. This is just, there's a lot to unwrap from Seth's live last night. One thing I am very grateful to hear is Seth Rogers is planning on serving the sheriff and the district attorney's office of Sumner County. Let me say it again. Seth Rogers is planning on serving the sheriff and district attorney of Sumner County. Amen. Hallelujah. So he's trying to get an appointment with the FBI. He is trying to take it forward. And we're going to talk about his petition that is on change.org. And please, he did want to remind people, please do not do events in Sebastian's name without inviting he or KP to make sure one of the parents are there. They're apparently, hi, Raymond. You're still not laid off? Oh, buddy, are you working today? Peggy said, Seth makes me cry every time I watch one of his talks. Yes, myself as well. My heart breaks and I tear up and, you have trouble sleeping after hearing that. How do you sleep, Detective Carter? Mr. Craddock? Wearing your shirt with your name on it today, I suppose. Running against yourself. You're busy. You all, until we get another candidate to run against this guy, he's going to stay. You're not going to feel safe. When I have locals reaching out to me saying things like, if anything happens to me, here's some information. Wow, people are scared in Sumner County. But I don't think it's just the people anymore. I think Sumner County officials are scared too. Big eyes are coming, and Seth's bringing them. So, for those of you who are unaware and just coming in, let me say hello to all of you first of all. Hi, Lisa. Anyone I've missed? Hello, the other Lisa King and Lisa Vogt, Peggy, Jacqueline, Mama. Thank you all for being here today. I know I'm not saying everyone. Hi, Bridget, and everyone else in the house. Sassy, it's so good to see you. It's been a while. Hello, Teresa and JH, Kinsey, Doodle Mom as always, and Barb, Tebe, Lux. Hello to everyone. And Minnie, thank you so much, my dear friend, for leading the mods for me. I appreciate you. Minnie is in the house modding today. So we are going to get right to it. For those of you who are unaware, that is Detective Carter. Now, I say that because, again, he has not come forward. He doesn't do interviews. He doesn't do anything like that for Sebastian. So I wanted to put him up here for you so you knew who he was. So that is Detective Carter. Seth Rogers is the father of Sebastian Rogers. He's the parent that is Sebastian's voice. Sebastian has an Amber Alert. It is still active. He is one of the FBI's most wanted. The FBI has offered up to a $50,000 reward. And At Night and Dog the Bounty Hunter have contributed $450,000. So there is a $500,000 reward. Yet no one is coming forward. Hey, Horo Loro, welcome in. We're so glad you're here. You finally caught alive. Well, welcome in. And everyone in the bushes, welcome in. Come on into the chat. They're very friendly. Hi, Hope Floats. Hello, WW. So he's one of FBI's most wanted. Sebastian is an Amber Alert child. And all of those things you would think would bring him awareness and an office that would be sharing his name, pitching in, bringing in everyone they can bring in. But no, they are shutting it down, in my opinion. Seth is not going to let them. Hi, True Crime with Sweet Melissa. Yeah, right, Doodle Mom. Detective Carter, we got questions. First of all, America's Most Wanted, we know, finds people. So why would Detective Carter, Seth Rogers said, be mad that they came, that they were coming? Why would he think it's ridiculous that America's Most Wanted is coming when they hadn't found the kid yet, right? They haven't found Sebastian, but they think it's ridiculous with all of the national watchers that watch America's Most Wanted? Why would it be ridiculous? I think it's fear. Why would they be afraid? Why wouldn't you be proud to showcase your town and your sheriff's office to the world? You would think they would have been standing tall. Well, they should have been, but there's a reason they're not. And we got to get to the bottom of that, don't we? Why weren't they so excited to stand tall and have the world see how good Sumner County Sheriff Office is at investigating a missing child? Why weren't they proud? Why didn't they want Hendersonville, the world, to see their city, their county? That speaks volumes, doesn't it? Yes, that speaks volumes. Because they knew they screwed up, someone in the comments said, in my opinion. And Tebe Luck says, Sumner County, is this how you would function if it was your child? Detective Lisa B. Always says, hi, Lisa B. Always. We've got 3 Lisas in the house today. Lisa B. Always says, at Detective Carter, Sebastian is not in your office, in my opinion. When will you search again? I love that. I love that. It's really disappointing. We have Don't Be a Drag, Just Be a Queen says, good day, everyone. I'm a frequent lurker. Just wanted to pop out of the bushes and say hello. Hope everyone is well. Seth last night was so powerful with his words. Like, oh my gosh, totally agree. Don't be a drag. He's always powerful when he comes on. It's always breaking, but it's always from the heart because all it's about is finding his son. And he just wants people to help instead of hinder. Sherry Willette says, Seth, we're going to start the show in a second. I'm just going to, everyone's got some comments. It's been an emotional night. Sherry Willette said, Seth mentioned that going south question that CP asked him, and I looked up the meaning of that phrase, and I did not like what I read. Yes. And I loved what he said about, he said to CP about a father would never ask that because a father would know the answer. And I love that he referred to CP as a thing. The thing KP married, the thing that broke up their marriage, the thing that didn't protect Sebastian. Love it. Hi, Pale Rider. Hi, Direct Current. Mansions on their salary. We've talked about that. Detective Carter, look up his house. It's close to $800,000. He's a young kid. He's not even a sheriff. How's he afford that? Meme said, Seth broke my heart yesterday, but I'm so glad to watch your channel because you really saw how things are and don't sugarcoat them because it's so true. God bless. Well, thank you, Meme. I appreciate you. He breaks my heart, but he's not going to give up, and I really appreciate it because he is a voice for Sebastian, and Sebastian needs one. Because if Sebastian is watching all of this, he's wondering where his mom is. He doesn't give a rat's where his stepdad is, I'm sure, but he's wondering where his mom is. Maybe Sheriff Snuggle Struggle could take that $222,000 for remodeling his office and donate it to finding Sebastian. Yes, but when you're sitting in your office 99.9% of your day instead of out investigating, in my opinion, he wants it comfortable. So, Direct Current says this is my top 3 of favorite channels. Oh, sorry, Direct Current, it slid away from me there. This is my top 3 of favorite channels. I just don't usually chat. Well, welcome into the chat, Direct Current, and thank you so much for that. I love it that I'm one of your favorite channels. Thank you. Sassy says, huge conflict of interest. Someone is paying LE to cover up things, in my opinion. Something's going on, right? Because you would be proud your town. If you were running the proper investigation, in my opinion, you would be proud. You'd be laying out the red carpet for America's Most Wanted, showing them how you do things in Sumner County. But he thought it was ridiculous and he was mad. But I don't think it was mad. I think I'm not going to say he was mad according to Seth. And I think he was mad because he's scared. Colleen says they may be corrupt. They may be. I think when all of this is said and done, they're going to have some answers to give. Because America's Most Wanted has a successful history of finding people, having helped capture over 1,100 fugitives and locate dozens of missing children. Why in the world would they not want that assistance? It doesn't make sense. Well, now we're finding out they only want their flyer used. They don't even want the FBI flyer used. So something's going on. I think they're very afraid it's going to be escalated federally to the FBI, to the marshals or something by going over their head. That is my opinion. If they don't even want the FBI most wanted flyer used, there's an ego thing going on, or there's a we can't let this get out of our office thing going on, in my opinion. And it's scary. But they're, in my opinion, guess who's more scared now? They are, in my opinion, because I think they're realizing it's going to be taken out of their office. Seth Rogers mentioned last night that he will be serving the sheriff and serving the DA. He is trying to get an appointment with the FBI, Kash Patel being busy with the Epstein stuff, but he is working. Not with TBI, not with Sumner County. He is trying to get FBI. He has tried so hard to work with TBI in Sumner County, and he's got dishonesty. He's been ignored, no follow through, lack of follow through, lack of transparency. They don't want to speak of Sebastian. They don't want to put up Sebastian's picture. They do not want to do press conferences for their Amber Alert missing child. Who told them not to advertise, not to raise awareness? Please sign his petition. Yes, I have that in our show too today, just so everyone can remember. But they find dozens of missing children. And for an office, Sumner County Sheriff's Office, who is incapable of finding a missing child, clearly, they keep saying, basically, we got nothing. Nothing points to foul play, but we can't rule it out. They've never mentioned people of interest. They've never asked for help identifying the 3 a.m. sedan trucking through the neighborhood. They've never put out a composite of the people in the images at the 3 a.m. sedan. They've never profiled anyone saying this is what we're looking for. They've never told anyone whether or not some crazy strangers ripping kids out of bed in Sumner County, or if you're living among vile filth right there who did it. And I say vile filth. That's right. They've never said a word to their public, only whispers to their friends about their safety. So they haven't found the child, but yet they have a problem with an agency coming to town that does find children. America's Most Wanted, John Walsh. Why would you have a problem when you're in the failure rate? In 2024, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children assisted law enforcement with 29,568 cases of missing children. They helped bring 91% of them home. Only 9% of the children were not brought home, which is why Sumner County is in the 9% of the failure rate, but yet they don't want help. They're afraid of help. They are afraid of help. Ask yourself why. By Whispering Winds from our channel.
As a family, searching clues to find the missing kids around this world, searching far and wide, things that make us cry. Sometimes they are found safe, but many don't get out alive. We fight for justice, for the voiceless. We help one another look for evidence, turn it in and hope they listen to the clues we found, even if it is small. These children are blessings and didn't ask for this. But some aren't even given simple things like love, a little hug, I'm proud of you, just a compliment. Crime Time Buzz is always there looking for answers and help us find you out there. Are you hiding from someone that hurts you? Or did they remove you from this earth because they simply didn't care? Just so you know, America cares. We cry. You notice that you're missing from a dinner table, a holiday, another birthday come and gone. God is with you, my darling, we're trying to find you, searching every day, just so you can play another day. Don't give up on those that really care. You are precious and beautiful, smart and kind, and tomorrow we hope to find you. You are precious and beautiful, smart and kind, and tomorrow we hope to find you.
We will bring him home and we will not give up. Seth Rogers wants the flyers to continue to circulate. Please be circulating this flyer. He is asking you circulate the FBI flyer, not the Sumner County flyer. This is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. We are almost going on 2 years. We have not had a press conference from Sumner County Sheriff's Office since April 2nd of 2024. The last search was at the landfill led by Sonny Weatherford, sheriff at the time. That was in March of 2024. There was no picture up at the press conference showing who Sebastian is. I'm sorry, I didn't mean was. I meant was because I was talking past tense about the press conference. Showing who Sebastian is. Sheriff Craddock said, the weather's turning. I got a few minutes. Okay. And he was very adamant in that press conference and he actually got a little irritated. There is nothing to prove the parents, he was very bulldogging the parents. Well, if there is nothing to prove, then clear the mother. I want to hear you clear the mother, sir. You have not cleared the last person with Sebastian Rogers. That is first thing you need to do. Second thing, RSOs. You didn't even go to all the RSOs. The private eye went there 50 days later, and you still hadn't talked to one of the RSOs who lived near Sebastian. You had no crime scene tape up. You did not do forensics, no luminol, no fingerprinting. You treated it like a runaway instead of a missing person, and that is basic 101 what you don't do. You do not walk in and believe someone. Seth said something that I love. He said, you represent the badge. Just because you have a badge, you do not get to do everything you want. And I'm paraphrasing. Okay, there's a question for Detective Carter. Love it. Oops. They can't bring in the, Lisa, he explained last night, they cannot bring in the Cold Case Foundation because Sumner County will not let the case go. They won't let the marshals take it. They won't let the FBI take it. They won't let cold case. Nothing can happen because Sumner County, who chooses not to search, not to speak of Sebastian, not to do any press conferences, not to follow leads, not to open emails, not to go out to potential sightings, not to respond to ransom requests, all of the above, but yet they don't want anyone else to have it. Yes, Craddock is running for sheriff again against himself. But again, that's his priority, wearing his name on his shirt instead of wearing Sebastian's shirt, talking about himself instead of talking about Sebastian, asking for a brand new office so he can sit in there collecting paychecks, in my opinion, instead of doing what he should do. These guys own big homes. Brandon Carter's home's worth almost $800,000. You explained that to me. He's a little detective. Craddock owns many homes, although now that has been changed. You can't see the many homes. You see one little rental house in his wife's name. So you'd think they'd be proud, but let's keep going and talk about why they're not. Let's just keep it going here. They are in the 9% of failing of bringing a child home. Sumner County, you are one of those 9%. Seth would like you to start using the FBI flyer. Seth would also have, oops, I'm sorry, y'all. Let me share again. I'm sorry. Seth is asking that you continue Sebastian's Army to share the FBI flyer. That is the one he would like shared. Zena says they can't find Sebastian, but they found Green Hoodie in less than 24 hours. Can someone explain that to me? Zena, they found him in less than 24 hours. Allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly because here's my opinion on that. I do not believe they interviewed the correct Green Hoodie. I believe because FBI said, and they were even wearing the Green Hoodie. I believe, and that was told to them probably by Sumner County. I believe someone put on a Green Hoodie, and of course, the Boy Scouts swallowed it. Or it wasn't honest, in my opinion. But you're right. They can't find a child. but they sure as heck got out there, right? Within hours, they saw the footage, located Green Hoodie, interviewed Green Hoodie, and cleared Green Hoodie, but they can't clear the mother who was there with him the last night. Isn't that interesting, y'all? They've cleared Green Hoodie, but they haven't cleared the mother who was the last one with Sebastian. They haven't cleared the stepfather who was God knows where, in my opinion, that night. Seth Rogers is the only one with an official alibi, and we have discussed that. Please make sure the link is right here that you will go over and sign Seth's petition after this to get it out of Sumner County's jurisdiction. Seth has also asked that everyone start going to their local representatives in their counties, their states, to start a movement, we the people, and stop the corruption. Stop the misconduct. Stop the treatment where parents of missing children have to beg law enforcement to do their job. Jonathan Wong's parents went through it. Daniel Robinson's father went through it. Seth Rogers is going through it. There's some parents like the Wells who don't call, it doesn't matter to them. They're not calling. But there's other parents who care. And we need to start a movement because it's so stressful enough not to have your child, but to have to fight with law enforcement to do their job. It's disgusting, and it's just unbelievable. But Seth is planning to serve the sheriff and the DA, and I cannot wait. Seth was asked if he could run for sheriff against Craddock. He would be a fabulous candidate, but unfortunately, he's right. He would have to live in the county. And the second he moved to that county, they would have him in jail. They just would bother, they can put the father in jail who's looking for the child, but not the stepfather who abused the child and has CPS records, allegedly. It's a dirty world there, in my opinion. Dirty. Mr. Carter and Mr. Craddock, I suggest you go speak to your pastor at Long Hollow Pike Church, and get a little counseling about doing the right thing and doing for others. That's right, Long Hollow Pike Church. You go talk to your pastor. Don't just walk through those doors and rub elbows and mock Christianity. Why don't you go ahead and live it and do the right thing? So when you walk through that door, walk up to your pastor and tell him, we haven't handled this right. We're not treating the father right. We're not treating Sebastian right. We haven't even told our public what's going on and if they're safe. Please counsel us to be good people and do the right thing. Don't just go to church on Sunday and sit in the pew. No one wants to see you there if that's what you're doing. Yeah, I'm angry. I'm real angry. So why wouldn't he want good old Detective Carter? Why wouldn't he want America's Most Wanted in there? Let's discuss a few things we know. First of all, he is the only detective on Sebastian's case. They announced that over a year ago. And when they said that, everyone got upset. And then Craddock came out, and I'll have to find the statement. But someone said, but it's his only case. Now we're finding out Detective Carter is indeed the only detective on Sebastian Rogers' case. Try emailing him, see if you get a response. But anyway, he's the only detective on the case, but it's not his only case. So it's not like he's just working on Sebastian's case. He's working on other cases, but he's the only one looking at Sebastian's case. Very disappointing. Here's some reasons I think they didn't want America's Most Wanted in here. America's Most Wanted has a track record. They don't care if little cops don't want them there. They care about the children. John Walsh lost a child. So in they come. Most towns, wow, they'd be proud. Come on over to the office, sheriff's office. We'll show it, nothing. They're not proud. Carter was mad and said it was ridiculous. Well, could that be, Mr. Carter, Detective Carter? Because you failed to get to the Texas Roadhouse. You went once, left your card. They kept calling you back and calling you back and calling you back because the things they saw in the footage the night Sebastian Rogers ate in the restaurant minutes before he went missing, last seen, worried them. You didn't have the time to return their call or come back and get the footage. So what did they do? Thank God they saved the footage. Didn't even go back. Maybe he didn't want America's Most Wanted because, America's Most Wanted knew where Sebastian had eaten last. So maybe he was worried they were going to go there. And that Texas Roadhouse would say, oh, they didn't even come here. He never bothered to call back. He didn't come for the footage. Maybe they were afraid they'd go to Warsham's and find out that footage wasn't gotten, preserved. Maybe he was afraid they'd go talk to the locals who would say, we're scared here. They've never told us if a stranger came in, if we live around vile filth that has no conscience. They've never told us anything. Maybe he's afraid it would get out that he went to the Motel 6 when the guy in the red Camaro was harassing or having an argument with the lady. I don't want to say harass. I don't know. I wasn't there. They were harassing each other. Who knows? But there was an issue. The lady was scared. She called for help. It was in Gallatin Police, right? That's who she called. I'm saying the wrong name. It wasn't Gallatin. It was, is it Millersville or Goodlettsville? One or the other. That's who the police she called. But guess who showed up about 30 minutes later? Detective Carter, saying he was the lead detective in the case of Sebastian Rogers. She was shocked because she hadn't called. Why would the lead detective show up when she called the actual agency in the jurisdiction about someone who was bothering her? He thought she was bothering him. But in rolls Detective Carter in a red van, saying he's the lead detective, unmarked, not an official van. And he tells the lady to mind her own business and leave. He also tells the lady that the owner of the red Camaro is not the person she thinks, which was not true. Why? Why wouldn't he make her feel protected? She didn't. She said she'd never go back to that area again. That's what he wanted. But is that protecting all of the public? Or was that protecting the person in the red Camaro at the Motel 6? Who's still there periodically, in and out. Maybe he didn't want them to ask him about the audio he asked for. Because if you're going to if you say nothing happened and there's no foul play and nothing went on in the backyard, why would you want an audio that occurred in the backyard? Allegedly. Because you wanted to hear whose voice it picked up, right? But that means you recognized something was going on in the backyard, right? Yeah. Maybe he didn't want America's Most Wanted when they interviewed Seth to find out the way they've treated him. Maybe he was worried that Seth would share about the dishonesty he's provided to the father of a missing child. Now, this came after, but maybe he doesn't want it to get out that he ignored a ransom demand, that he had to be constantly prodded to give a response. Never addressed his public who was upset about it. Nothing. Maybe he was worried that as the America's Most Wanted came in, that they would interview locals who would say, oh, he doesn't even respond to his emails. He doesn't answer the calls. They send the tips to a retired person named Blanche, her voicemail. Maybe he didn't want America's Most Wanted to find out that he was on a first name basis with the stepfather who had a terrible relationship with the stepson. Oh, yeah, maybe he was worried they'd go up to the school to film. Just the outside, they're not going to go in and interview teachers, but maybe he was afraid someone might say, there's something fishy going on. What do they know? Why isn't his sheriff telling him to do his job better? The petition is on change.org, and I have the link for you all. I'll drop it again. Change.org. But it's a specific one. Hold on. Let me get you all the link. Let me get you the link. It's right here. Mods, can you please put the link for it's under October of 2025 or November 2025, recent, that they have a comment up there if you Google it. Change.org, Sebastian Rogers. I think they have here, let me go to it for y'all real quick. Here it is. Wait, this might not be the one. Hold on. There it is. Let me get you the link. Here is the link to the change.org petition. Please sign that. I just put it in there, my friends. Letty Nell says this was an inside job, in my opinion, well planned. Well, and they thought they weren't expecting Seth to be ride or die for Sebastian. And that blows my mind, because you would think they would expect that from every parent. But I guess they didn't. I thought they probably thought they could outsmart him and just get him to go away. Hi, Be Kind to Everyone. How was your wedding? Congratulations, our friend, Be Kind to Everyone, Donna Z. Also, you know her as Whispering Winds, who wrote our intro song. She got married yesterday. No, 2 days ago. I wasn't even expecting you to be here. It's so good to see you. Patty Visco says, hey, Brandon Carter, why were you with CP in Memphis partying it up? Why are you on this case and hanging out with CP? Conflict of interest, shaking my head, in my opinion. Great comment. There's a lot that's going to come out, and I feel like it's just brewing and getting ready. Maybe he didn't want America's Most Wanted to come to town because they would have been embarrassed that they saw the back area and heard they were trying to push that a trash truck was four-wheeling back there, and that's why there were flashlights. Maybe that would have been embarrassing for them. Maybe they didn't want maybe he didn't want America's Most Wanted to come because they say they got nothing. There's no evidence to prove foul play. Well, they know that statement. If that's shown to the world, that statement of Craddock saying it, and then the footage of the 3 a.m. sedan and the flashlights and Texas Roadhouse, they're going to look a fool, in my opinion. Hi, Bliss. Maybe they didn't want America's Most Wanted to come because they don't want awareness for Sebastian. They don't want people to know Sebastian's still missing. That's why they don't do much, in my opinion. Hi, Smiling Sleuth. Hi, Janet. Maybe maybe Carter was afraid America's Most Wanted would come in and find out they didn't preserve footage, even from simple places so close. Maybe they were afraid America's Most Wanted would come and talk to the neighbor who said they saw him being carried out. Two people walking with something black blob over their shoulders. Maybe they didn't want America's Most Wanted to do an interview like that and find that out. And then to find out that they called law enforcement and said, you've got to come get my footage. I see something on it. Oh, you don't see that. You're not seeing that. Maybe they didn't want that. Maybe they didn't want America's Most Wanted to come, Brandon Carter, because you didn't want them to hear the quote from the TBI agent who said on day one where he is, he's not coming back from, because that shows knowledge. That shows you guys were watching something. Maybe they didn't want America Most Wanted to come because they didn't want to look like the Boy Scouts who forgot to preserve the crime scene. No crime scene tape, no forensics, no fingerprinting. They didn't want to look like Boy Scouts. Maybe they didn't want them to come because they would have found out that Chris Proudfoot has a rule that law enforcement has to abide by. He's setting the rules now for law enforcement, the guy with the CPS records, alleged, because I haven't seen them. And he's setting the rules that you're not allowed to talk to KP without me. They know darn well they're going to call first. Well, guess what, investigators? How about separating them? Who's running the show, Carter? Is it Chris or is it you? Get up out of that office and start searching, because we are not stopping, sir. So if you don't like it, you might want to take your badge, put it on the desk, and go work for the post office, where kids' lives aren't in jeopardy. But we are not stopping. And Mr. Craddock, same. We're not stopping. So if you're going to look bad for some reason when all of this comes out, which I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying it, if that's why you don't want Sebastian found and something's going on, then put your badge on the desk, get yourself out of the office, and go apply to the post office where you're not ruining children's lives. Yes, you're getting snarky Jay now. Because I'll be darned if you're going to continue to collect a paycheck and eat donuts and talk about biscuits and snuggle struggle instead of going after the criminals. I've never seen law enforcement enjoy hobnobbing with criminals so much, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is when you address a R person, someone who has R'd someone, or you're addressing someone who has been R'd and you say, oh, R is such a strong word. Let's call it snuggle struggle. And you're bold enough and stand by that statement enough to put it on social media in your line of business? You're shaming victims. Oh, the rapist just had a bad day today. You can go to H, in my opinion. Put your badge on the desk and go apply to the post office. Amazon is hiring too. You could deliver packages, but then you're not ruining kids' lives. It's disgusting. Yep. It's a political game out there, and it's a dirty world because they weren't even excited to showcase their town to the world. They didn't want them there. Because when real investigators come in, they don't give a hoot about Brandon Chris's relationship, Bauer Sox's relationships with law enforcement, people who are getting homes allegedly, why Chris Carr's home went down $300,000 in assessments one year. Are people getting tax breaks? What's happening? Yeah. See, the problem is when you're dirty or you're doing not the right things, and I'm not saying they're dirty. I'm just saying when you're not doing the right things and you know that in your heart, you don't want other people around because it's that guilt, that fear people are looking because you're not living right. And they didn't want to look like Boy Scouts to the world. America Most Wanted. What if America Most Wanted had come in and said there was no crime scene tape, no forensics? I mean, imagine the embarrassment. They didn't preserve footage. The stepfather had numerous CPS reports and law enforcement never arrested him. But they haven't gotten anything to the grand jury about Sebastian Rogers with all the lies, the things that have been changing, the CPS records. But yet they could get a YouTuber there that they had never even met saying, I'm afraid of her. She might have had a machete. But he had never met her. But he was afraid of her, CP. CP, Sebastian was afraid of you. Why didn't KP take that to the grand jury? Thank you, Raymond, for gifting a Crime Time Buzz, 2 Crime Time Buzz memberships. Wow. And be kind to everyone. If you guys, thank you so much. And I'm sorry I didn't get on yesterday. I want to explain that to you, but I don't want to stop right now. I got stuck in a rainstorm yesterday. So I'm not used to checking for storms, but now I am because it's the second time it's happened to me. So that's why, y'all, I was tutoring yesterday. I was tutoring a neurodiverse student, my favorite, in person. Love him to death, my great nephew. And so I flipped my day because I started in the morning and then I got stuck in a storm. So I apologize for not doing our members yesterday. Sassy says, is there an internal affairs department? They have that department, Sassy, where you can, yeah, right. They're probably corrupt too, she says. They have an office where you can report. Yes. You can report misconduct, alleged misconduct, and they will investigate. I'll have to pull that back up, Sassy, off the top of my head. I don't have it, but there is a place. Also, the U.S. Attorney's Office is a great place to go. Bliss Blessing says there's got to be I know there has to be a pro bono that would take Seth on to at least go after neglect or child abuse. Yes. Barb says, I don't travel in storms too. I check weather ahead of my travels. Well, and that's a great advice, Barb. Thank you. Because coming from Arizona, I'm not used to doing that, but I will be now because it's happened to me twice. Yes. T-Bird says that's why I'm side-eyeing judges. Yes, that's a whole nother thing. Let's talk about the judge real quick. The one who claimed to have been getting threats. That's serious and needs to be followed up. They need to investigate it. Did they? What do you think? I don't know. They made such a big deal about it. They got to protect their judges too. But I think they were afraid America's Most Wanted would speak to the locals, find out they've never given any public safety information regarding the kidnapping of the abduction of Sebastian Rogers. They were afraid someone would show them the 3 a.m. footage because it's out there. Someone would show them the Texas Roadhouse footage and they would look foolish. And that's what I think. But let's get another look at him. There he is. So he was threatened, a judge. That's serious. That's a serious crime. They actually switched. He stepped down. They put in a different judge for Betty and the Proudfoots case. But I want to know who did it? Who was it? Did they investigate it? Was it one of their buddies so it went away? Or did they not investigate it? Have they investigated it and someone's getting some serious charges for threatening a judge and his family? What happened, Sumner County? You told everyone on the news that it happened. How come there's no follow-up with what happened? The story of Sumner County. Yeah, the machete was ridiculous. Someone who beats on women and kids, why would he be afraid? He was afraid she was going to find out what happened, in my opinion. Yes, we've talked about it. Little man syndrome, short man syndrome, Napoleon syndrome. It's where you got to act big. You got to act strong because you're a little turd, in my opinion. This case has been very disappointing. Very disappointing. And I'm going to have another live tonight, and we're going to keep talking about it. I do want to share a few things that Seth covered also today. Okay. Real quick. Sorry, I took a lot of notes last night. I got home late. So what I did is I said hello in the chat a few hours before he began, but I didn't make it home because I got stuck in that storm. So I watched it later and took notes. Tim Bailey retired last year from the department, and they've never replaced him. Brandon Carter is the only detective on this case, and it is not his only case. He thinks it's ridiculous and was mad America's Most Wanted was coming. You guys like snarky, sassy Jay? Well, I can give it to you today because I am just blown away. Seth said he doesn't have the integrity to tell the truth. And Seth doesn't believe him. Now listen to this, because he's lied to him over and over and over. You represent the badge. The badge doesn't represent you, Seth said. And if you're lying, it's criminal to use the badge to get what you want. Bingo. And we're going to talk about it. People in the county are fearful. I have had people who have sent me things, and I promise you this is true 100%. You guys trust me. You're with me. You've been with me a while. I've had people send me some things saying, if anything happens to me, hang on to this. People are afraid in Sumner County. People don't feel protected in Sumner County. Now, okay, I'm sorry. I forgot to clarify. If you're not one of the good old boys, you don't feel protected. You're not part of the ass slapping. Excuse the term, but it's what they do out there. It's the best way I can explain it. Right? Didn't we recently hear an audio where CP said Detective Carter was with him in Memphis or Mississippi? They were out there or something? Were they hanging out or doing official business? I'd love to know what official business. Yes, Seth can file lawsuits. Seth can do that. And Seth is he's explained last night what he's doing right now is he's trying to get an appointment with the FBI. He wants it escalated to the FBI out of Sumner County's hands. And it's just the FBI is involved in the Epstein, involved in a lot of things. So it's taking him a while to get that appointment and even an appointment locally in Tennessee right now. Okay. So I love that audio where he says, well, he's here with me. Really? Were you guys searching? Was he forensicing? Was he doing forensics on your fifth wheel? Was he talking to your work to see where you were? Was he talking to the RV park to see if you were truly there all weekend when you were off for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Were you sitting in an RV all by your little lonesome? Or did Brandon come up to keep you company? I don't know, but CP says he's up there. So if Carter's up there, what was he doing? Why didn't he, what did he do? There is something very seriously wrong in Sumner County, in my opinion. Thank you, Raymond, for signing the petition. We need to support this father. This is the father's case, mission, his child. We are here for him. And Seth really wants the flyers to be circulated. Please circulate the FBI flyer. Oh, and Carter's upset. They're upset. Sumner County doesn't want this FBI flyer circulated. Why? They don't want people to think they're not the lead detectives. They don't want people to think they're not searching. They don't want people to think they're not answering their phones. They don't want people to know they're not returning emails. They don't want people to know they're not heading out to alleged sightings. Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. They're not following protocol. And Carter's not following protocol. And Carter's boss is Craddock, who's not making him follow protocol. Craddock's worried about a big new office and raises for everyone because he needs to build a team. We've seen what they build. Okay. They've had problems in the jail, money issues, as far as families trying to contribute to the inmates' funds and things happening. I'm not going to go into it because I specifically don't have those notes in front of me. They've had problems in their jail with one of their officers accosting a female inmate, rubbing himself up against her, and other things. They've had problems. Sean Taylor from Millersville was exposing the corruption with the housing industry, money laundering, child teeing, drug teeing, even going out of our country. It's that big. He was exposing them. Guess what happened to him? He says a favor was called in and TBI raided his office and took all the files of proof. Let me put this question up. And then shot out his windows while his family was home in his home. And then one of the people he was pointing as corrupt hit him head on in the car. That's what happens when you try and expose them. What if it's between protecting themselves and finding a child? It's clear, right? They're going to hit someone head on and shoot their windows out who's got files on them. They don't want people looking. And that Sean Taylor said that the sighting at the Motel 6 of Sebastian Rogers was related to all of it. And he was going after child teeing, drug teeing, money laundering. Oh, by the way, in the home and real estate industry in Sumner County. Shocker, right? Big homes. Go to any other county and look at your detectives' homes. They're modest because their salaries are modest. They're not mansions. They're not living in almost $1 million homes, million-plus homes. Why are these guys? They don't want people in. Dan says, is the police department hiding something important to this case? In my alleged opinion, yes. Unless they have zero training, they're hiding something. Because they're trained to put up crime scene tape. They're trained to get somewhere. And when there's a missing child, the Department of Justice says, you don't treat it like a runaway, even if you're told, you treat it like a missing child. Also, they didn't do any of that. Why wouldn't they do forensics? Whose fingerprints did they know they were going to get? They said no breaking and entering. Sebastian didn't leave the house on his own. Nothing on CCTV. So he was driven or he was carried out, and the neighbors said they had it on their camera, 2 people carrying a black blob through the yards. 3 a.m. sedan, flashlights. Let's take a pause for a second. Credit to mods, could you please put the link to Seashore Annie's channel, please? I want to play this song right now. I do not know, and that is interesting. Jay, is the Judge Carter related to Brandon Carter? Has anyone checked? No, but I certainly will be today. I have not checked. I don't know if anyone has checked, but I have not checked, and I will be. Thank you for that, Direct Current. Hi, Deafening Silence. Jay, it's disgusting. Isn't it how heartbreaking for parents like Seth, the very people who are meant to help you, are a barrier to prevent you from finding your baby? It makes me want to scream. You and me both. It's disgusting. Put the badge down and go work for Amazon. Go deliver some packages where you're not harming lives. I do believe when this is all over, and this is just my simple opinion, I do believe there will be jobs lost. I really do. This is just my opinion. I do believe when this is all over and Sebastian has been located, there will be jobs lost. Sumner County is known for generational corruption. It goes deep. It goes many years, many, many, many years. If you Google misconduct, corruption in Sumner County, you will be shocked. It's in the commissioners, it's in the sheriffs, it's all over. The school board. That's right. When you have someone in the schools who did something wrong to children, allegedly, and the story's completely buried for years, but that person's relative gets a job in the school because, we did a favor. We buried that. And this is alleged. We did a favor. We buried that. So now we're going to put you in a position where you might have to do us a few favors. Oh, I'm just alleging. But isn't that funny how you can't find the information on that case? Things get buried there. Things get buried. There's commissioners who are at the command post, along with all these guys. They say in order to solve the case, it's got to go out of Sumner County. So they know they're working with dirty, in my opinion. Or they know they're working with Boy Scouts who are incapable of finding a child. But my thing is county commissioners, you take it out of the county. And you explain why it has to go to out of the county. And you help Seth Rogers. And I know when we say county commissioner, many of you only envision males, but no, I'm talking females as well. And they were watching the footage, and they've never come forward and said, Sheriff Craddock, that's not true. There is evidence. There was a 3 a.m. sedan. There were flashlights that got out by Chris Carr's house, traveling around the backyard. A black blob being carried that the neighbor saw in their footage that the law enforcement Sumner County is trying to tell her they didn't see. They didn't go to Texas Roadhouse. They didn't go to Warsham's. They probably didn't go to BP. Great piece of information Vinnie Politan brought up about Katie's narrative that the FBI was sharing. Thank you, Be Kind. Yes, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much. Please hit that thumbs up, please. Hold on 1 second. Let me get my little banner up. Sorry, guys. I jumped on here earlier this morning. I had another live plan for noon for us, but there was no way I was going to miss this for us because we needed to talk about it. And there's so much more to talk about from what Seth said last night. I'm just focusing on this guy. Put the badge down. McDonald's is hiring. You know what, though? It's hard to afford your almost $1 million home on a McDonald's salary. I'm not even sure how you're affording it on a detective salary, allegedly, in my opinion. Okay, we are going to play a song from Seashore Annie because it is titled, What Did the Lawman See? It's referring to Chris Carr the one with the sophisticated cameras, audio, night vision. You know that audio Detective Carter wanted to know that we heard. Allegedly. And I am pulling it up right now. I'm sorry. Taking me a minute here. And then I'm going to show that too. Okay. Okay, thank you. Please drop Annie's. I hope I have it up. Hold on. Yes. This is Seashore Annie, who has written many songs for Sebastian. What did the lawman see? And I would like to play this for you. This is credit to Seashore Annie, a friend of the channel, a friend of Sebastian's army, and part of Sebastian's army. She writes beautiful music for him. We've listened many, and this one really hits home because this is another person wearing a badge. This is another person wearing a badge who was riding around with dispatch, the only one who didn't turn in his footage like all the other neighbors did. He claimed he got nothing, but how do you get nothing? Carr, how can you have nothing when Craddock and Carter said a trash truck was in the backyard? You should have had a trash truck on your footage. Oh, wait, then the FBI contradicted Sumner County because it was so ridiculous that they explained, oh, the lights they verified the lights. There's lights shooting through the backyard, but they said it was from a headlights. So, Mr. Carr, you should have headlights you picked up, according to the FBI. How do you have nothing? We're not buying it.
Oh, it's bad. It's so bad. What did the lawman see? What was picked up on his camera that night? The world is longing for the big reveal. A broken man, public collapse. What secrets are you hiding? Was a suspect hiding out at Horn Lake? Or was he home and crying? Where is the child? That beautiful lad? What did he lawman see that broke him? Who carried him away in the dead of night? Was it a stranger? Or was it kin? Was it a him? Or was it a her? Whoever it was, man, it caused such a stir. Oh, it's bad. It's so bad. What did the lawman see? What was picked up on his camera that night? The world is longing for the big reveal. So who's gonna speak up? Who's gonna break? A nice neighborhood left in despair. Kids don't just vanish from their beds at night. The next morning, the boy wasn't there. And vanished without a single trace. Hearts left shattered in bits. A father questioning his ex-wife. What the hell did she omit? A sheriff refusing to speak the missing boy's name. If it's true, he's a friend to stepdaddy. Someone's gotta answer and speak the truth. You can't just keep throwing a patty. Oh, it's bad. It's so bad. What did the law
one of you is gonna break?
Amen.
Or will you wait silent till it breaks you? Your human brain wants to evict the truth. Crimes against children don't sit easy in your mind. Even if you're the evil kind, the truth is coming. Thou shalt not lie. What destination are you headed when it's your time to die? Oh, it's bad. It's so, so bad. What did the lawman see? What was picked up on his camera that night? The world is longing for the big reveal.
That is credit to the channel Seashore Annie, friend of our channel, friend of Sebastian's Army. She's from Wales and she writes amazing songs. Go to her channel. She has an entire playlist for Sebastian. And I just wanted to play that because it's so relevant, isn't it? What did the lawman see? Well, if he saw nothing, then he's saying FBI ain't telling the truth. And I think FBI's telling the truth. I think they're acknowledging there were lights there, and that's what's important. So the person who has the 7 cameras with night vision and audio would have captured the lights because they have now acknowledged they were there. First with a trash truck. He should have had the trash truck on his cameras. Okay, now it's not a trash truck. FBI finally got rid of that ridiculous statement from Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Yes, I know that they say it's a headlight. I completely disagree with them, in my opinion. But they've acknowledged there were lights. So that means Carr should have had lights on his cameras. And he's not being honest, in my opinion. So you got a bunch of people wearing a badge. You need to put it down. McDonald's is hiring. You're living in homes that are more expensive than most detectives and agents and sheriffs around the United States. We will show you if we have to. I think when this is all over, badges will be gone, in my opinion. Things will be happening, and the housing industry in Sumner County will be under investigation. As well as many other things, right? They don't follow protocol, in my opinion. But one thing Seth brought up is if you have one detective like Carter on numerous cases, then all the cases are going to suffer because there's just one set of eyes on many cases. Then many cases are going to suffer. And that is such a great point that Seth is very intelligent. That's such a great point that he brought up. And Craddock, instead of worrying about Sebastian, he's worrying about rebuilding his office. I love, if you did not hear Seth, and by the way, that song is you're right, so powerful. I can play another one from Annie if you want before we go, because her songs really hit my heart. And I really want everyone to go over and subscribe to her. Can one of my mods please drop the link to Annie's channel? Please subscribe to her. She writes these beautiful songs for Sebastian. What Seth said was, buddy, you should be working out of a tent to solve these cases, not worrying about the roof over your head. Amen. Boom. Put him in a tent. Strip the office, get them in a tent, and once cases are solved, you can move back to the office. I'd love that. You do want another song? Okay. Yes, she's just absolutely amazing. And hi, Tracy. Hello, butterflies. But I loved that statement. Instead of needing over 200 and some $1,000 to rebuild your office, which when locals come in to talk about Sebastian, you send your little goonies over to them to intimidate them. Instead of saying, you have something? Oh no. What are you here for? Are you a YouTuber? You know, all this stuff. Let's go ahead and be kind to your constituents. They pay your salary. He's asking for money to pay his people and build his team. What? You don't need a team. You ain't searching. You ain't investigating. You ain't doing press conferences. You don't need a team. We all know the scene was handled horribly, and that's probably why they don't want anyone else in. One thing I've explained is if they would call the marshals in, the marshals aren't going to come in and investigate. They just locate. So if they would allow the marshals to come in, the marshals would locate Sebastian, but I'm afraid for Sumner County, that would be the problem, in my opinion. That would be the problem. They're not going to investigate. They're not going to, investigate you, Carter, or Craddock, or any of this. They're just going to find Sebastian. So let's let Sebastian be found. Hi, Gypsy. It's so good to see you. Hi, Connie Etter. Oh, I will work on closed captions, Connie. I will work on closed captions, Connie. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I will certainly work on that. Let me put that. Okay. So there's a lot of fishy stuff going on. Someone brought up a great point. Watch the America Most Wanted interviews. What do you usually see there? Local law enforcement. No one showed up for Sebastian. I think they got a quote. This is an ongoing investigation, the same thing. Hi, Christina. Yeah. What happened to the judge who was threatened, guys? What happened to Sebastian, guys? Why haven't you cleared the person last with him? You can't? I'm sorry. Does that mean you quit? Why are you hanging out with her? You haven't cleared Chris Proudfoot, but you're hanging out with him, according to him, Mr. Carter? That is a conflict of interest. Maybe Mr. Carter doesn't realize that Chris Proudfoot is telling everyone all over the world via the internet that he hangs out, that Detective Carter was in Mississippi hanging out with him. Maybe Detective Carter doesn't know that. Buddies. Chris was in the Navy. Katie was in the Navy. So was Craddock. And you'd think when someone is former military that they would have skills. Right? Where's his skills? What did he learn? What did they teach him? Yes, Chris Carr is a wannabe cop, in my opinion. Someone said, yeah, he's a part-time motorcycle cop. Right around that first morning, not turning in his footage, saying he's got nothing, but leaving the vigil in tears, saying it's so, so bad when he was asked what he had seen at the command post or what was going on at the command post. Okay, I'm having requests. Gypsy says, Buzz, I found something fishy over the weekend about a searcher. Ha, I'd like to discuss with you, Jay. Gypsy, will you email me? Email me today. And a detective. Oh, good. Thank you. Email me today. If you would, and I will get in touch. Yes. I am having requests for more songs from I'll give one more song from Miss Annie because they're amazing. Hold on. Let's see here. I have not listened to this one yet. This is about missing child's flyer banned from the Pig Fest. Well, here, hold on. I'm going to play this one. This is credit for Annie again. Please drop her link.
Who was lurking in the dark? Who was creeping in your yard? Who forgets what they have said? Whose life is now lived in dread? Who can't remember where he was that night? Whose arms look like he'd been in a fight? Who was stopping searchers looking for your son? Whose whole life is about to come undone? It is Tennessee, it's 2025. Where is Sebastian? Is he alive? Who carried him across the grass? Oh Lord, the truth is coming to tidy up this mess. Where is this dear boy who we all love? Have faith in our God. He saw all from above. Don't think for one moment the truth won't be resurrected. Oh, the truth is coming, that you can be sure. Keep talking, keep lying, keep leaking some more. You lied to the judge, a lady was arrested. Every word will be dismantled, it will all be contested. No one was looking for dear Sebastian, all because of your cheap distraction. Lord above, please make this right. It was an infraction, please do it tonight. In the year 25, where is Sebastian? Is he alive? Who carried him across the grass? Oh Lord, the truth is coming to tidy up this mess. Where is this dear boy we all love? Have faith in our God. He saw all from above. For Sebastian now draws oh so near. The truth and nothing but the truth is what we want to hear. Do you hear us, Sumner County? The truth we demand. Put the guilty on the stand. Let the hand of justice reign. Bring Sebastian home again.
Seashore Annie. Just absolutely. Sorry. I wonder how they feel knowing that the world is watching and disgusted with them. And that only their good old boys, you are welcome, Sassy. Thank you for being here. I've missed you. Knowing only the good old boys are the ones who are supporting them. Think they're getting nervous? I do. Think they're eating biscuits? They better be, because according to Craddock, no one gets arrested mid-biscuit. It's all a big joke, isn't it? All a big joke. A couple of more things that Seth covered, which was really interesting. First of all, he keeps referring to CP as Thing. So don't miss my video coming out in a few hours called Thing 1. And it will be focusing on Chris Proudfoot a little bit. from Dr. Seuss, thing 1 and thing 2. There we go. So I'll be putting out a video about that in a few hours, and I will be live also. Oh, goodness, I'm running out of time today. Well, maybe our video tonight will be called Thing 1. We'll see. But I will be on again today. But I want to talk about a few more things that Seth said. Seth titled his show, Been Too Long. And that is really so true. Too long, they got nothing. They're not searching. They're not interviewing. They're not doing press conferences. They're not even putting his flyer out. They're tooting their horn when they pull over traffic stops all over their website and things like that, but they won't mention a missing child. But it's been too long, Seth said, since he's seen his son. And yes, it has. It's been too long since he's been able to talk to Sebastian's mother about his son. And that's a shame. Why won't Mama talk? Why is she acting like Melody Buzzard's mother? He did say, Katie, you carried him for 9 months and he was 5 days late. And he was God's gift to us. And there were so many complications, Katie, and I stood by you. I was there through the whole pregnancy. He called her babe, but then he corrected himself. He said, I was there the whole time. Our son came 5 days late on December 7th, 2008. His grandpa's birthday and Pearl Harbor Day. Their child, not Chris Proudfoot's child, not Chris Proudfoot's property, not Chris Proudfoot to abuse, humiliate, or belittle, allegedly. Or hit with a belt because you forget to wear your belt. Well, guess what? You forgot your alibi. What should we do to you? You forgot all the details because you keep changing them. What should be done to you? You want to get hit with a belt? Is that what happens? Right? The green hoodie does look like Seacar's son, and I will agree with you. I will totally agree with you, Veronica. However, it also looks very much like Katie's mother, and she did enter the women's restroom. Now, some of you are talking about the Hendersonville police getting there earlier. I had heard that about 6 months ago or so in conversation with a local. Someone heading out to something, once they looked back and reflected for a while, thought they might have seen Hendersonville police there that morning before Sumner County. I do know that another channel released that information. I haven't gotten to go watch it. I did not ever release it because I didn't have proof. We were just kind of working through it. So I just think that, Buzz, you have mail? Okay, Gypsy, thank you, dear. If we talk about, I've told you my persons of interest list. Is it official? No, but it's in my gut. Katie Proudfoot, because she was the last one with Sebastian, and she can't seem to tell one simple narrative. She doesn't even remember the last words she had with her son. Those have changed. Katie Proudfoot has pointed the finger, in my opinion, at Melissa Proudfoot because she can get into the locked house, Kathy Bowersox because she can get into the locked house, Chris Proudfoot because he can get into the locked house. Law enforcement has said no one broke in and entered. Sebastian was not seen locking or leaving the locked house. Katie says she didn't. So she pointed the finger at those three people, in my opinion. So that's what she's doing. Also, C. Carr. He knows too much, in my opinion. And I think, in my alleged opinion, that one flashlight that stands by in between his house and the next one could very well have been him and just went right directly back to his home when KP went back to her home. That is my alleged opinion. He has a red sports car and a 4-door dark sedan that stayed out of the neighborhood after Sebastian went missing and didn't return till the following spring. He also had a fifth wheel on his property that night. I say that because I worry that that could have been a place Sebastian had been put. I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just brainstorming. Then let's not forget the cadaver dog that hid on Unit 10 over at Beach Storage numerous times, and law enforcement told people that they were hitting on dead rodents. Okay, Boy Scouts, here we go. Cadaver dogs are trained by the scent of decomposition. They know how to differentiate it from dead rodents, and we now have Google, so you cannot fool us anymore. And I still want to know, Eric Craddock and Detective Carter, what happened to the judge who was threatened? What'd you do? What you didn't do? I don't know. But I think Amazon's hiring, and some people better start applying because they ain't doing their jobs, and we're done. We're done with it. There are people all over watching, and they do know that Sumner County C-Car has a red sports car that sits in his driveway. I have photos of it sitting right with a 4-door little Nissan that stayed away for almost a year. And you want to take a guess who drives the Nissan? The son. Yep, this is so bad, right, Janet? Yes, the son drives the Nissan. According to locals, once Sebastian went missing, that Nissan didn't return till the following spring to the house. There's a red sports car there. Remember, we were looking at the back end in one of the photos from the night, and we saw a red back end. We were thinking it's the Camaro from Motel 6. Some person did look at it and they thought it was a Charger. Well, guess what? A red Charger sits right in C-Car's driveway. That's what his wife drives. He drives a white pickup that we see all over Texas Road. Allegedly, there was a white pickup at Texas Roadhouse. In at night's surveillance photos, there's a white pickup on some of the streets as driving. But when the bigwigs come in, the Boy Scouts are going to have to step aside. Right? But one thing Seth wants to know is why is... Now, before I say what Seth had asked, he asked a question yesterday, and it was interesting. But, we know that Chris Proudfoot's calling the shots. Sumner County's not allowed to talk to Katie unless he's there. They know it. That's my rules. PIs aren't allowed to talk to Katie unless he's there. Isn't that interesting? A mother whose child's missing can't talk to law enforcement? Hi, Ashley Buzzard. Hi, Katie Proudfoot. Hi, Candace Bly. Yes, Dan, that yellow raincoat, yes, that yellow raincoat person at Texas Roadhouse, I think we need to go back and start focusing on again. I do. Michelle, you're saying Carly. Who's Carly, my friend? Who is Carly? I believe Katie's mother may had Sebastian allegedly. Well, let's remember the story is, well, we do know that Chesapeake is where she lives in Virginia, and that's one of the hotspot areas, one of the areas At Night's been putting out for people to keep their eyes and ears open. They have already been out there and searched. Oh, got it. Thank you, Doodle Mom. They've already been out there and searched about a year ago or more. Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Donna B. So what Seth asked, which is a really good question, because CP doesn't let anyone talk to KP. What's he afraid of? exposing himself, exposing her, finding Sebastian, because any mother would want to help, unless you're Ashley Buzzard, Candace Bly, or Katie Proudfoot, allegedly. So, or let's not forget Casey Anthony. He asked Katie, why to speak to you do I have to talk to that thing? And that's a great question. He has nothing to do with Sebastian other than all the negative things we've heard. Why can't Katie Proudfoot sit down with the father of her child and discuss that their child is missing, take the problem out, the conflict, CP, anyone who knows him has a conflict with him. They don't have much good to say about him unless they're one of the good old boys. Force Sumner County to show the files to the FBI. I think the Attorney General needs to investigate KPCP's lawyer of how they got cleared. They haven't been cleared though, my friend. That's the thing. So why does CP have to control that narrative? Is he afraid for himself? Is he afraid for his mom, his stepdad, his sister, his wife? Yes, Faye. Faye, if you're in the bushes, Faye is saying, I seem to remember Seth was trying to get custody of Sebastian when he went missing. He was moving Sebastian to his apartment, getting Sebastian on an online program. He was on the waiting list, but then he got accepted. He was also arranging ABA therapy to the home daily to help with trauma and issues and other social issues, whatever Sebastian needed. And he was working on a program and a plan. But they wanted to send him away to a school because it just wasn't quick enough. And then he disappeared. Boom, on his mother's watch. The mother who said she took him to bowl and play video games, and they were there 10 minutes. The mother who forgot to mention he got a haircut. The mother who forgot to mention that she went to a friend's house, first letter D, that day with Sebastian present. There are rumors that night, she also visited another little buddy in the neighborhood. That's a rumor. I can't verify it. You know, when I say buddy, in quotes, in my opinion. I would love a profile of who they're looking for. Oh, so to live with Seth, they would have 50-50 custody. Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. Right? But why has Thing One got his nose in everything when he couldn't even spend time with Sebastian or take pictures with him or treat him properly or let him sleep in the house all the time, allegedly? He has nothing to do with Sebastian. He had nothing to do with creating Sebastian. He only had something to do with the breakdown of Sebastian, in my opinion. And Seth did say he has everything to do with Sebastian not being here. That was a very powerful statement. He has everything to do with Sebastian not being here. He has everything to do, Katie, he has everything to do with the reason we're not together still, Katie, is what Seth said. And why we're not a family, Katie. Boy, he's caused a lot of problems, in my opinion. And then Seth said he destroyed our family. Why can't I speak with you about finding our son without talking to this thing that thinks he's a man? Short man syndrome. As a man, he said, you took KP and courted her. And then he said, well, you didn't even court her. And you took her from me and we were married. Shows kind of the ethics, his ethics, right? Are there ethics? Does he have a conscience? Smacking kids in the mouth, hitting kids with belts, wives. I heard another channel is trying to get all of his ex-wives on. Whoa, that will be a don't miss. It's a very sad story. It's not a story, excuse me. It's a very sad situation going on in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Someone's about to be reelected who doesn't protect all of the public, who won't address the public safety. I mean, come on, guys. Either you're going to let your public know that a stranger crept in under your watch and kidnapped a kid out of bed, abducted a child out of bed, or you're going to let them know, let the locals know they live around vile filth who did it. It's one or the other. Maybe an acquaintance, maybe a vile, filthy acquaintance did it. But it's not that it didn't happen, Carter. So when you wake up in the morning, you should be remembering every day that that boy is missing, and that should be important to you. More so than worrying about biscuits and traffic stops. This is a child's life. Have you asked the TBI agent what he meant by where he is, he's not coming back from? Have you asked your friend Carr why he claims nothing's on his footage when you guys claim a trash truck and FBI claims truck lights? Doesn't make sense, does it? Did you ask him if he was holding a flashlight and walked back to his house? Did you ask him if he hung out with KP that night? Did you ask him if his son was around? We're not accusing anyone, we're just talking. Didn't Stink Feet try and run over his ex-wife when he tried to take her daughter? Yes, Melissa Proudfoot said run her over. That's the mentality of the people we're dealing with, according to Nina. And I believe her. I believe her. Nina also said he had cameras in the house. First thing she said, one of the first things she said when Chris called her and said, we're not going to court, Sebastian's missing. How did he know he wasn't going to be found in an hour? And she said, Christopher, you have cameras. Interesting. Well, remember, a year later, after this happened, cameras had been installed in their home inside, and law enforcement went and got them. I'm wondering if they put up cameras that had been up before that they took down and they reinstalled them. I'm wondering what was on them to get that search warrant. I'm wondering what that probable cause led to that search warrant. But they went in and they got, in February of 2025, the new cameras, or the cameras that were now there. What did they see? They also took electronics. What led them to electronics? What probable cause led them to electronics they had already seen? That right there shows us they still haven't been cleared for a reason, doesn't it? You know, they're not, Seth told you guys they're not living in the home anymore. They've got someone living in it. Yep, all the elections are coming up. All the elections are coming up for Sumner County. And Eric Craddock's doing spaghetti dinners and campaign things, wearing his own name on his shirt. Do you imagine how people would actually respect him if he showed up with a shirt of Sebastian Rogers? But no, he wears a shirt with his own name on it for campaigns. Craddock for sheriff. We got some people in Sumner County who need to put their badges down. They need to go apply to Amazon, the post office, a pet store, whatever you want to do. Stop ruining children's lives, in my opinion. These kids are going to be found. Sebastian's going to be found. And boy, oh boy, when Sebastian is rescued, he will have a story to tell, won't he? Is that what you guys are afraid of? One way or another, he will tell a story. And I look forward to it. Yes, walking up to a father 30 minutes of his arrival, of finding out that his son was missing, and Chris Proudfoot walked up to him and said, "What are you going to do if this goes south?" Wow. And he said, "CP, you know the answer to that. You should know the answer by my look." And he looked at the camera. And despicable waste, I believe is what he was saying. He did say to Christopher Proudfoot, "You better pray my son is found healthy." And then he said, "Pray, pray, pray." Do you think Chris Proudfoot's praying? I don't. I think he thinks he's so protected by all of his buddies that he's just living his best life, making a joke, a travesty out of Sebastian's life. Sebastian's life has been paused temporarily while these jokers run around living their best life. Michelle Passwork says, "To walk up to anybody asking if this goes south, then what implies to me the other person knows more than they let on." Amen. Bingo. Raymond says if he had said that to me, meaning if Raymond's child was missing, he wouldn't have any teeth left. I agree. He's up. When Dog was in our show the other night, he left a message, several messages in the chat, and he called Chris Proudfoot a wimp and a punk, and I concur. I concur. And Dog did say big news is coming. Okay, someone has a question here. Crime Time Buzz. If they aren't investigating, which I don't think they are, the search warrants and lack of clearing the foots is for the benefit or purpose of what? The search warrants may have come at a time there was pressure. I'm not sure. Not clearing the foots. Let me think about that. Well, in my opinion, there is nothing they have that would clear Katie or Chris, in my opinion. Therefore, they cannot. And that's why they're not clearing Seth, in my opinion. Seth has an official alibi. The other two, my goodness, come on, the changing narrative. So if they clear Seth, everyone's going to be looking at who? The other two who they can't clear. So I think the reason they haven't cleared them, Sammy, is because investigatively, if they cleared them, they would have to have an evidence trail as to, a trail as to how and why they were cleared. And they can't do that, apparently. And another thing, like Vinnie Politan said, her narrative. Did they just take her narrative and run with it? Or did they corroborate everything she said with evidence? That's what's supposed to happen. So he said the route from Texas Roadhouse, did they take every route and go to every establishment with cameras that would have been passed by to see if she stopped anywhere? Well, what do you guys think? That would have corroborated her story that she went straight home and didn't stop at the BP and talk to an official looking black SUV that according to my source, looked very official whom she was talking to. And you want my theory? I keep telling you guys that, and I never throw it out there. This is my theory, and I'm going to end it here. Little man, we know who I'm talking about. Short man, oh, we know who I'm talking about. Little Napoleon, oh, we know who I'm talking about. Big mouth, oh, we got him. Thing one, okay. I want to say this in the right way. Thing one had a problem with, as he said, he tried to get me kicked out of my own house. Didn't work. No. But he's got that mentality, that short man mentality, in my opinion, where he would retaliate about that. But I want you to think about what he said. Sebastian was taken outside by CPS. I don't believe that, by the way. Probably to talk about Chris Proudfoot because of all the different cases, not the reason Chris Proudfoot says to tell Sebastian you're a liar and going to get in trouble. But my theory is this. I received a tip that Katie pulled over on the way home, speaking to someone who looked official. The claim came from someone who claimed to be in the vehicle. They claimed someone was in the vehicle with Katie. The person claiming to be in the vehicle with Katie said she pulled over on the way home, talked for a while to someone. I'm not going to tell you what the exact words she said, but let's just say official looking, and told Sebastian to get out. That's right, and told Sebastian to get out. Here's my theory. Little man, oh, you're going to get in trouble, you lie. I think, so what if Sebastian, when she pulled over and allegedly spoke to some official-looking black SUV or whatever it was, or official-looking individual, what if, when she was talking to that person, they started a little plot about Sebastian contacting CPS, and he shouldn't have been because he wasn't telling the truth. She tells him to get out because he thinks he's being arrested, or he thinks he's being saved from arrest. What do you guys think? Because of fibbing to CPS. What do we think about that? She pulls over. Sebastian's in the car. She's talking to someone official looking in the vehicle. Is it such a far stretch that they pretended to talk, that they were talking about Sebastian making false claims to CPS? This is serious. He's got to be, blah, blah, blah. Did they scare him? Did she tell him to get out? Like I'm being told? Did he get out? Did she tell him to get out? And were they pretending he was in trouble for what he did, making a false claim? Is that how they got him out? Beyond the evidence said, who took out the garbage then? Until I see a photo that proves to me that was Sebastian, I'm sorry. The one who had on a hoodie at Texas Roadhouse was KP. She had on the same shoes as Sebastian. Yep. But that's just kind of one of the theories I had. Did they tell Sebastian he was in trouble and taking him to jail or blah, blah, blah was their big plot story where he thought he was going? Or did they tell him he was going to be arrested and they decided, we're going to hide you, son, so you don't go to jail? I don't know. But she sure says, and I went straight home. Anything she says, I go opposite. Dan said, if CP and KP are not in the house, why can't they get a PI? Why can't the PI get a search warrant and look in the house for anything? I don't know, Dan. I just found out someone else was living in the house. So I don't know. Chris's arm marks, why didn't they investigate those? Carter and Craddock, Didn't those marks on the arms set off a little question mark to you? Did you photograph them? Oh, I hope you have photographs of that arms in the file. I sure hope so. I sure hope all the threats he's made all over the internet to various people is in your files. I sure hope you kept that audio. I sure hope you kept the 3 a.m. footage, because if you did away with it and everyone else has it, others have it, whoa, is that not going to be good? Maybe that's why they don't want anyone in. Val says Katie didn't show her arms. Oh, interesting. Spirit Miss says CP gave Sebastian the belt for lying. Look at all the lies CP has told. Oh, yeah. Isn't it his time for a belting? I don't know. Oh, that's another thing. On Vinnie Politan, they said they were talking about the bang. Even if you have a child who is not neurodiverse, you hear a bang and you go, what was that? You get up off your bottom and you investigate. And I know as a parent, I would have said, but what was it? What was the noise? She didn't do any of it. And they were talking about how weird that was. They also talked about the weird 2-hour phone call. And they came up with 2 theories. Either they were doing their taxes together or having phone sex. I'm sorry to say it, because that's what they were said. Who would be talking for 2 hours unless something happened and you're trying to figure out how to handle it? And then they said, well, I guess. Planning. Here's what you're going to do next. Now you go here. Now you go there. Because you got a control freak. And if he's not right there, he's going to spend 3 hours telling her exactly what to do. But that 3 hours, remember, went down to 2 hours because they can't keep a darn thing straight. Child is missing and she can't remember anything except spaghetti pancakes. And a bowling alley trip, which was bogus. And that he was happy and laughing all weekend or all day on their outings. Well, I haven't seen a smile yet out of him in the footage or the pictures. We'll just call her Ashley Buzzard. We'll just call her Candace Bly. We'll just call her Casey Anthony, allegedly. Another thing that Politan brought up, which is really interesting. She says Sebastian was home. Did law enforcement find proof he was home? Like, did he log into a laptop? He loves his Switch. They could find out if he was on his Switch, did they? Was he on a laptop? Was he on his phone? Was he on his Switch? Or was he sitting in the closet playing with a paper clip and a Lego, as CP says he tended to do, for 2 hours? There should be proof he was in that house, because kids use their electronics. And remember, Katie says he loves his games. He would have been on his Switch or something. So Lori is Katie's friend who was in town when Seth showed up at the house. She was already there. She has a child Sebastian's age. They're good buddies. The son was not there when Seth arrived. Rumor has it her husband was also in town, John. So some people wonder if John allegedly, no one's accusing, drove away with both boys. Is part of the plan. No one's accusing. We're just throwing out what theories are out there. Also, a military family, by the way. I know, Butterfly. Sorry, but Vinny and them were talking about. I was laughing so hard. I was just because they were trying like who would be on the phone that long, and then they're like, well, if they were doing their taxes or they doing some dirty talk, it was just kind of funny. Yeah. So, have they interviewed Lori? Why was Kathy Bowersack standing in the kitchen minutes after the report of her step-grandson going missing, asking Chris Proudfoot what jewelry he was going to buy her? Why did he owe her jewelry? What'd she do for him? Allegedly. That alleged trip to the storage unit? Alleged? That alleged, what is it? Why would a mom be talking about jewelry? Hit that thumbs up if you would, everyone. Why would a mom be talking about jewelry? Putting baubles on her fingers when a child's missing. Remember how badly she wanted Faith, by the way. I think this is all connected to CP didn't think he could get custody of Faith if Sebastian was there because he believes Sebastian would have done something to Faith, and what happened to Sebastian may have made it impossible for him to get custody. The trauma, instead of seeing Sebastian as the victim he was in that situation. I believe it's all connected. Sebastian was starting to outcry, tell what was going on. He was afraid. If Sebastian went to Seth's, he would still be coming for visits. CP didn't want that. Sebastian and Faith talk. Sebastian could tell Faith what a monster her daddy is, allegedly. Yes, like, hey, I want my payment. Exactly, G-Money Christmas. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, Bubba, did you fall out of bed? Get up off your lazy self and look. She hasn't looked for him since he was missing. I guess why would it surprise us? She didn't look to see what was going on that night, allegedly. So I think this is all connected to CPS reports, a custody case, a teenager now speaking up, a teenager who's going to go live with his father and have a decent life, but would still be visiting his mom. And CP didn't want that, in my opinion. It's him or me. Remember the threat? It's him or me, the ultimatum. Do something with the R or I will. Did she do something with the R, as that creep put it? Or did he? Let's see here. I'm going to the comments now. If you're in the bushes, I heard Seth had to take a call when he had paused, and then my heart broke, man. Rachel, I'm not sure why that broke your heart. Oh, I'm not sure what you mean, my friend. Is her friend active? I don't know. Oh, active military. I'm not sure. That's a great question, Rachel. I'm not sure. I am not sure. And then Titch, because we do disagree here in the chats, and we in this chat in our community, we can disagree respectfully. Hi, Frank. Good to see you. Hi, Texas Plain Jane. We can respectfully disagree with each other. And here's one. I disagree. I think they needed to get out because of the CPS reports, and he wants us to think he would do something to F, and Faith would see the abuse too. I agree. I think that's very, very plausible as well. He wants us to think because of the trauma he suffered, he would do something to Faith. Therefore, remember, he said, we all agreed they shouldn't be together. No, they shouldn't be together because the kids were close and talked, and they'd agree what a monster was involved, in my opinion. Thought T-Bird says, runaway means he wasn't hurt on my watch. Yeah, they wanted everyone to believe a child who doesn't ever go barefoot, doesn't like the dark, loves his jacket when it's cold. He's a chess player who plans. He's a chess player who knows how to strategize. He's home in the afternoon so he could take off then, doesn't have to wait till the dark of the night. And that's what she wanted us to believe. And Chris Proudfoot even stood there and said, "Let me make this crystal clear. He walked out that front door and stood on that porch." Well, sir, no, he didn't, because there's no proof of it. And then you retracted that, didn't you? And let's not forget the reporter who said in the first interview, Mr. Proudfoot told me the emotional roller coaster all began Sunday night. Whoa, wait a minute. I thought it began at 6 a.m. Monday morning. What happened Sunday night, Chris? Tell us. Tell us. What happened? Someone's going to tell us, aren't they? And someone's going to tell us. I have a feeling when this comes down, we are going to find out Chris Proudfoot was not in Memphis that night. I mean, let's not forget, he's the one Elevated Truth claims he told him there were two pings into the neighborhood, and those a-holes didn't even know one of them was my truck. Who's the a-hole now, Proudfoot? Allegedly. These people sicken me. I'm sorry, any mother who doesn't get up off her butt and look for her child. Minnie says, Teach, did all off-duty LE ride around in the cop cars that morning out, or just Chris Carr? Just Chris. Part-time motorcycle cop. They picked him right up. Or was he there first? I don't know. So, my friends, I wanted to touch base with you because it blew my mind. Detective Carter thought it was ridiculous America's Most Wanted would want to highlight Sebastian Rogers. America's Most Wanted, who has found thousands of fugitives, dozens of missing children. He thought they were ridiculous, and he was mad they were coming. Instead of being proud of his investigation, instead of giving an interview, little bit of an interview, instead of being proud of the town you run, Craddock, you guys were mad. Why were you mad? Do you think they were going to see the Boy Scout investigation? Do you think they were going to talk to locals? And the locals were going to say, we don't feel safe? We send things to YouTubers saying, if anything happens to me, save this? They've never told us if vile filth is living amongst us or a stranger came in and took this child. They didn't put up crime scene tape. They didn't go get the footage from the local Worsham store or Texas Roadhouse where he was. They didn't pick up, they were telling neighbors that what they saw in their footage they didn't see. Were they embarrassed that they were going to be told about the trash truck? Why wouldn't they want America? Oh, maybe America's Most Wanted would have come and found out luminol wasn't down in forensics and proper interviews. Maybe they were afraid what the locals might say. Because they're not saying anything, are they? Carter, Craddock. But they won't give it to anyone else. Because there's something, here's my theory. If Sebastian's found, when Sebastian's rescued, he's going to have one heck of a story to tell. Detective Carter, did you meet Sebastian ever before he went missing? Did you know Sebastian? Eric Craddock, did you meet Sebastian before he went missing? Did you know Sebastian? Sebastian's going to tell a story that's going to have a lot of people, in my opinion, having to be investigated. Even internal affairs, in my opinion, for misconduct and other things. There's reasons they don't want anyone else to have the case. There's reasons. And it's not fair to Sebastian at all. I pray to God, anyone listening, if you live in Sumner County, please watch your children. Please. Because if you're not in the in group, the good old boys, and your child goes missing, I worry. I really do. What I bet would happen is if one of the good old boys' kids went missing, we'd see a whole different type of investigative skills. But they were upset a child was getting highlighted and showcased. They don't highlight them and showcase them, and they don't want anyone else to. They don't want anyone to use the FBI flyers. They're getting scared. The fact that they don't want the FBI flyers used tells me they are getting scared. Yes, because I think they don't want everyone to start they're afraid it's going to go out of their hands. And if it goes out of their hands, there's going to be a lot of questions that will need to be answered. So eat a biscuit, Carter and Craddock, because no one gets arrested mid-biscuit, remember? Just using the statement back, allegedly, in my opinion. There's also going to be commissioners who, if they don't come forward and explain that there is stuff they've seen, they too will be going down with them, her and him. There's females also. But we're going to bring him home. We're not going to stop. Please keep handing out the FBI flyer. Please keep your eyes open. He's out there. We want to find Sebastian. Seth needs his son back. We need to get real investigators who really care. Real investigators who really care. Seth said last night he's planning on serving the sheriff and the DA, and I cannot wait. Can't wait to hear what happens with that. Please sign the petition that I dropped in the chat today. Please also go over and subscribe to Seashore Annie, who writes those beautiful songs for us. Yes, they're going to eat crow with a biscuit, said Nicey. Yep, you better be eating them biscuits. No arrests happen mid-biscuit. But I think it speaks volumes that he wasn't ecstatic for Sebastian. Well, we can't find him, so thank goodness they're coming, and maybe this will help. No, he didn't want it for Sebastian. He didn't think Sebastian deserved it. He was mad and thought it was ridiculous to highlight Sebastian Rogers, who will be 17 next month. 2 years almost, you haven't found the child. 2 years, you got nothing. And by the way, do you all remember when Eric Craddock, when Dog and Nat at Night joined and Eric Craddock got a little scared? So he did an interview with Nick Barris saying he did have some evidence that he couldn't share. I can't find that interview anywhere. They're so good at burying things, aren't they? Just like the Sonny Weatherford at the landfill. Sonny said, what we found, we're going to go back and analyze and see if we need to return here to the landfill. And he started talking about, we're not sure it's a recovery yet, but soon we might be looking that way. It's hard to find that buried interview, isn't it? But if anyone can find the interview where Craddock sat down in December of 2024 with Nick Barris saying he did have evidence he couldn't share, please send that to me because it's buried now. I can't find it. We are Sebastian's army. Please pass out the FBI flyer. Please continue to share his pictures, share his story. He is not home and he deserves to be home. Seth and he have more memories to make, and they're going to make them. This, as Seth put it, is like a pause. And he's going to get him home and they're going to live their life together. And that's what we need to hope for Sebastian and Seth. And anyone who is standing in the way of that. We want to see a perp walk. I want to see cuffs. And when they're on Proudfoot, I want them to be pink fuzzy cuffs. That is the first person, in my opinion, they should put behind bars because he's a little bit of a mama's boy. Well, Not a little bit. Come on. He's still on the breast, in my opinion. He's a mama's boy. So if he went behind bars, he would sing and turn in anyone just to get himself out. In my opinion, this station has internal issues. Yes, I agree, Rachel. I'm seeing someone say, great idea. Let's see here. Here's a thought. Would it be a good idea if someone had an opportunity to reach out to Ryan Church? He has connections. Perhaps he can get some radio stations to play Sebastian's songs. I know he covered Summer's case for a little bit. He was trying to help with Summer, and he ended up getting, I think, don't hold me to this, he stopped because of all the hate going on. So I don't know. There's a lot of, let's get some celebrities. Yeah, maybe we get some celebrities out here to start speaking for Sebastian, and then they'll realize, right? It's just sad. It's just sad. Absolutely. And they're worrying about adopting or taking in reptiles. In my opinion, there should be a law. He can't have anything with a beating heart. Or her, until they produce this precious child. Sebastian Rogers was failed by CPS. Sebastian Rogers was greatly failed by his stepfather. Sebastian Rogers has been failed by Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Sebastian Rogers has been failed by TBI, and there's an agent who said day one where he is, he's not coming back from. What do you mean? You know his location, or you know what happened? Because you saw it day one at the command post with everyone else. And he was failed by Ray Whitley, the DA. We need change. We need change. Too many families are having to beg law enforcement to do their job when their children are missing. Too many agencies are showing misconduct and corruption around the United States. Look at Ellen Greenberg's case. They coerced a medical examiner to change it from homicide to self-unaliving. Look at Karen Reed's case. Built a whole case against her, said they were going to find someone who unalived one of their own. But guess what happened when she was found innocent? They didn't go after her. They weren't determined to find anyone because the person they allegedly framed got off, and now it's going to look back at their agency. So we need to stop letting these people wear a badge who don't have ethics, honesty. And I'll say it again. Carter, Craddock, when you walk through the doors of Long Hollow Pike Church, maybe you need to talk to your pastor about being the kind of individual with integrity, honesty, and a conscience who cares about a missing child. Maybe you need to have a conversation with him in counseling about another career for yourself that would be better, where you're not ruining lives, allegedly, in my opinion. Everyone, please hit the thumbs up on your way out. Share the FBI flyer today. Seth needs help. We're not stopping. Please go sign the petition if you have not on change.org. We dropped that link. And please go sub up to Seashore Annie, who creates those beautiful songs about Sebastian. I will be back on at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight, and we will be talking about Thing One for sure, and some other things that have come to my attention that I am looking into. And maybe we're just going to talk about the whole thing again, because this is just getting ridiculous. But where is Thing One these days? Yes, Jelly Roll lives in Tennessee. I've emailed his wife and will be persistent. Bunny is good people. Thank you, Cinderella. Thank you. Didn't Jelly Roll post about Sebastian on X last year? Or about 6 months ago? I think he posted about him. So we need to bring Sebastian home. Brandon Carter's upset, mad that America Most Wanted come. Not proud. So clearly we know they haven't done their job, in my opinion. They don't show their faces to interviews. They don't want America's Most Wanted to help find a child they have shown they are completely incapable of finding. They don't want anyone else to? The world is watching, Carter and Craddock. Get up off your duffs and go find the child. Get up off your duffs and arrest someone. Get up off your duff and talk to Katie Proudfoot. And this is all in my speculative opinion that I'm allowed to have as an American, because we, the people, are the ones who pay the salaries. You're no longer going to sit in your $1 million home, Carter. Close to $1 million home. Yeah, he's local Tennessee. He's got a home that last I looked appraised at about $800,000. Last I looked at the assessment on Zillow, Kari, his home was assessed and it was at like $350,000. The next year the assessment was $99,000. Boy, someone got a tax break. I wonder why. Then it went up to $150,000. Huh? What, did it burn down? What's going on? The value went down so much, but not the neighbors' values? Interesting. How did Craddock's 4 houses go down to one little rental house? Where do they live in? Because it ain't in the house that's listed. Too small. They got 3 kids. Interesting. Maybe they're just too embarrassed. But instead of being proud of their investigation, they didn't want them anywhere near there. Craddock thought it was ridiculous. Sebastian's ridiculous that he would get that highlighted. Yeah, don't buy houses there, folks. I wouldn't be living there. You couldn't pay me to live in that county. And I know many of you love it and you have to. And I know it's a gorgeous area, so it's just a darn shame. But if you're not going to run people against corruption, then you're accepting if something happens to your children, these are the jokers who are going to handle it, in my opinion. So they are not safe there. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you this evening. We are Sebastian's Army. Please share the FBI flyer. I don't care if Sumner County doesn't want the FBI flyer used. They're not doing a darn thing, in my opinion. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. If you're in Sumner County, be sure you're aware of your surroundings, please. Ohio Stephanie said, shame on the lot of them. Absolutely. Hi, Adam Forever 21. Yeah, bring the proof, Ellie, as CP would say. Show us proof. You've been doing your duties, because we know you're not. Everyone's watching, and they're eating donuts or biscuits, excuse me. Have a wonderful day. Keep keeping on. Please stay safe, and I will see you again at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll definitely be addressing Thing 1. Have a wonderful day, my friends. Talk soon. Hit the thumbs up on your way out, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything coming up in the search for Sebastian Rogers, who we will bring home. Prayers up for Seth. Keep strength, good health for him so he can continue his journey, his mission, his only mission to find his son. May everyone searching stay safe. May the evidence stop disappearing, such as mattress pads and everything else going on. Apple Watch. Let's get the Boy Scouts out and get some real investigators in. Have a great day, y'all. See you at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Talk soon. Thank you for being here.